This is Sheila's Take, a podcast where you can hear my take on everything: love, hate, relationships, family, and today's issues. I'm your host, Sheila Dunbar. Thank you for joining me. Today we're diving into a story from the book of Genesis that's surprisingly relatable. And while this account may seem remote and ancient, it carries timeless lessons that resonate with us even today. In Genesis 32, verses 23 to 32, our protagonist, Jacob, a sneaky little but ultimately lovable scoundrel, is about to face his estranged brother Esau after years of being on the run. Now, we all know the story of Jacob and Esau. Basically, Jacob tricked his brother Esau out of his blessing because Esau came in from working in the fields one day and he was so hungry. And Jacob had a pot of stew, and Esau wanted something to eat, and Jacob told him, "Well, if you give me your birthright, I will. You can have the stew." And Esau was like, "Well, what is the good of my birthright if I'm dead?" So that was one time he turned over his birthright to Jacob, and then again, Jacob and his mother Rebecca kind of tricked his father Isaac into giving him Esau's blessing when he was on his deathbed. So at this point, Esau was pretty pissed and upset because he was the firstborn. They were twins, but he was the firstborn that came out, and he was supposed to get the blessing, not Jacob. So Jacob went on the run for many years, and now we're at a point where Jacob is now returning, and he doesn't know what Esau's going to do because he's afraid that Esau is literally going to kill him. So now Jacob's pretty much, he sent his family ahead, and he stays overnight at this river to pray and try and figure out what's going to happen. But now, Jacob's sweating profusely, and it's not from the heat, but from the anxiety and uncertainty surrounding him, like a wrestling match. But, Jacob finds himself all of a sudden in this all-out bout with a mysterious stranger by the Jabbok River. Now, we're not sure why this fight suddenly breaks out, but life sometimes does throw some unexpected curveballs at us. So we have no idea why all of a sudden Jacob is wrestling with this stranger. But what I love about this story is the determination Jacob shows during this wrestling match. It's like a David versus Goliath, with both parties refusing to give an inch. And this tale kind of reminds us that sometimes life throws us into similar wrestling matches, facing challenges head on, and we have to display tenacity in the face of adversity, right? Can you relate to that? I know it's a little heavy, but I certainly can. I mean, we all have had moments in our lives when we're grappling with tough decisions or unforeseen difficulties. It could be financial, relationships, family, jobs. It's like going against an opponent you never asked for, but instead of backing down, we're going to take the plunge and engage in a feisty match, But here's a surprising twist in this encounter, because after fighting all night, after literally an exhausting night of wrestling, our mysterious wrestling partner knocks Jacob's hip out of socket. Literally, he touches it, and his socket and his hip comes out of the joint. And, instead of this, now imagine, this could be really painful, but imagine Jacob giving up. He didn't give up. He still doesn't let go. Now that's determination. How many of us, if we're in a fight Hopefully we don't fight a lot. But if you're in some type of a fight and all of a sudden you're hurt in that fight, are you going to continue, or will you eventually say, okay, it's enough. It's enough. I've had enough. I know I'm going to share a story. When I was about 14 years old, and again, 14 years old, way back when, I had a fight with a classmate, and I can't even remember what this fight was about, but we were brawling outside during lunch or something. And I literally was just, people were telling me, I don't know because it is what it is, but people were telling me, oh, Sheila, you won, you were winning this fight. But all of a sudden, this girl actually, I don't know what happened. They grabbed us and she got loose and she ran and she bit my ear. And all I saw was blood all over the place. And at that time, I freaked out and I'm like, I'm done. And I just ran into the office. So I say all that to say, I got bit on the ear and I was freaking out and I was hurt and I was just like over it. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm not fighting anymore. Jacob was fighting all night with this mysterious partner, this wrestling partner, and he had his hip pulled out of socket. And I don't know if those of you know out there who've had hip injuries and things like that, but it can be very painful after a while. And Jacob was so determined that after what this mysterious wrestling partner did, he still didn't stop fighting. He still continued. So that is determination. And it goes to show that sometimes you gotta hang on, even when life takes unexpected turns. Even from, and I remember reading, going further, that because of this, what this stranger had did to Jacob, and we'll find out later on. We find out later on in the story who the stranger is, but because of what the stranger did to Jacob, he walked with a limp. He walked with a limp for the remainder of his days. Right? So that's how bad that injury was. And he still would not let go. But by the break of dawn, Jacob persists and he earns himself a new name. And the name is now Israel. His name has been changed from Jacob to Israel. It's a new identity. It symbolizes growth, transformation, and I dare say an encounter with a heavenly being. Jacob walks away from that wrestling headlock with a new lease on life. How many of us would like that? How many of us could use a new lease on life? I know I would. I could. I know a lot of my listeners out there could also. So let's take a moment to reflect on this ancient tale and how it hits home for us today. We may not wrestle with divine beings, but we do have our late night tussles with our own fears and doubts, right? Sometimes you guys are staying up all night worrying about how certain things are going to get done, or how bills are going to get paid, or how that project is going to be done at work, or what time are your children going to be home. Just things like that. But instead of running away, let's remember to face our struggles with a spark of humor, determination, and if necessary, a memorable wrestling maneuver. Just like Jacob, our struggles can lead us to unexpected breakthroughs, personal growth, and even a good laugh or two. So the next time life throws you into the ring of uncertainty, lace up your boots. Ladies, put on your spandex and embrace the challenge with a smile. By wrestling with our fears, doubts, and uncertainties, we can emerge as transformed individuals, ready to face the challenges of life with a renewed strength and purpose. So that wraps up today's episode of Sheila's Take, and I hope you found some inspiration in the tale of Jacob's wild wrestling match. But remember, the ancient wisdom found within scriptures can profoundly impact our lives if we take the time to connect them with our own experiences. Until next time, keep wrestling with life's challenges, Stay lighthearted and spread some joy along the way. Peace and take care. Join me next time where I will continue to discuss more of today's issues. You can hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, or even send me an email at sheilastake@outlook.com for topics you would like discussed or if you would like to be a guest on Sheila's Take. I'm your host, Sheila Dunbar. Until next time, blessings to you.